I saw this, two stories. One, Cam Newton, there's no market for him. And I'm an opinionated guy, and I have strong opinions. And there's athletes I've been really hard on, and I'm going to list them. John Wall, Derrick Rose, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, Carmelo Anthony, Baker Mayfield, Blake Griffin. Cam Newton. Have I been wrong on any of them? Ted Williams batted .400 one year, best hitter ever. I'm batting 1,000. I'm not picking on anybody. There's no market for him. I do believe there's a market for Jameis Winston. I think Washington may bring him in, and I think he's better than Dwayne Haskins right now. And I think he's more capable of more production than Alex Smith, who I'm not sure is going to ever play again. There's no market for Cam. There really isn't. You can say it's health. Tom Brady's 43. There was a market for him. So I've never been a big fan of Cam Newton. I think he's aged poorly. I think, it's just like any human. You look at Dr. Anthony Fauci. He's 79 years old. He looks great. He's smart, fluid, cerebral, jogs 3.5 miles a day. He's taking care of his body. I always use the LeBron, Carmelo Anthony. They come into the league same time. LeBron is still the best player in the league at 17. His body's a temple. Carmelo Anthony fell off a cliff, never took care of himself. He was never in great shape. I had more than one NBA executive tell me, the guy's not in great shape. You can look at his body. D. Wade, look at his body. Ray Allen, look at his body. LeBron James, look at his body. Those guys are in shape. Those guys are in great shape. Carmelo never was. And when you're not in great shape and you have a crisis in your life or a problem in your life, you age rapidly. And Carmelo just off the end very quick. LeBron, Tom Brady, they can push it. I've said this about Big Ben. Big Ben's never really been known as a guy that grinds. Joe Flacco's not known as a guy that grinds in the offseason. Flacco and Big Ben have not aged as well. Brady and Breeze grind in the offseason. They've aged really well. Look in the mirror. If you're 55 years old and you're falling apart, that's not mom and dad's fault. That's not the government's fault. You just look at these pro athletes. Flacco's not aged well. Big Ben didn't age well. Breeze and Brady age great. I think Russell Wilson, like LeBron, is going to age brilliantly. I think Russell Wilson's going to play for 10 more years. And I'm serious. He'll play into his 40s. And you say, well, he's a runaround guy. He doesn't get hit. He just doesn't get hit much. So take care of yourself, take care of your body. And I don't think a lot of these guys that the market shrinks for them. It's not. A lot of times it's the drama. I'll say this. The Steelers did a very good job for years to keep most of the Antonio Brown nonsense in the building, and then it leaked at the end. The Rams did a very good job to keep the Todd Gurley stuff in the building. Carolina did a great job to keep a lot of Cam Newton's baggage in the building. If he doesn't get signed, there won't be a lot of stories, but I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but he's not an easy guy. And organizations, the thing in the NFL, when Michael Sam came out and people were like, oh, this is homophobia by the league. And I said, hold on. He's not a great football player. And there were real concerns. I talked to NFL people that is there a distraction element from the media? And I said this with Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow was a distraction. He became so big a celebrity, there were concerns. You couldn't bring Tebow in to be a backup. The media just glommed on and creates a distraction. This league hates distractions. Gurley became a distraction. He can still play. Out. Antonio Brown's brilliant. Distraction. Out. I said this with Kaepernick. Kaepernick and Tebow are celebrity backups. That's not a job in the NFL. You can't be a celebrity backup quarterback. And everybody wants to say, it's this with Kaepernick, it's this with Tebow, it's this with Michael Sam, unless you're a star, and sometimes even if you are Antonio Brown, Cam Newton, if Cam can't be a backup in this league. He's too big of a star. And Johnny Manziel. So when I've watched the NFL for all these years, the one thing I always go back to, the media will try to marginalize stories. If you are seen, this is not the NBA. You don't get 10-year contracts like baseball, guaranteed deals like you get guaranteed money in the NFL, but not guaranteed deals. If people view you like Cam as a bit of a celebrity, you better be a franchise guy. They're not bringing you in as a backup. That's just not the way. They want you to be Jacoby Brissett. He can be a backup. But even Garoppolo in New England, it was, every bad loss, it was a question about Garoppolo. I don't think that's good for teams in this league. And so I think Cam's got a very small market. You either have to see him as a starter or it's over. I wouldn't bring him in as a backup. Just like I said, I would never bring Tim Tebow in as a backup. You go on a 2-game losing streak. That's why John Elway brought in Peyton Manning. John Elway's like, I can't limp into replacing Tebow. I got to go to superstar. And so, I said this about, if you're not going to sign Dak, and Dak's the franchise guy for the Cowboys, bring in Brady. Because the story the next day is Brady, not Dak, didn't get a deal. But Cam is too big of a star to come in and be a backup. Is the microphones on a 2-game losing streak are all going to go to Cam, and they're going to go to the coach. This league, man, these coaches in the NFL, they have no interest in, if you're going to be a celebrity, you better be a star and a starter. So I don't know what the market is for Cam. He's a depreciating asset. Accuracy's an issue. He's banged up. We got a medical issue. He's still pretty affordable, but you're not going to get him. Nobody's bringing him in as a backup. I just don't. The NFL, they don't do that. I mean, Tebow won games. Nobody wants him as a backup. I mean, Kaepernick's better than some of these backups. People aren't going to go with him as a backup. You can call it whatever you want. Find celebrity backups in this league. They just don't exist. They don't exist. Coaches don't want it. It's hard enough to win games. Every game counts. Every field goal counts. Every turnover counts. These coaches, and maybe it's nonsense. Maybe it shouldn't matter. They are all in this, no distractions. Belichick, the leading coach in the league, will not let his assistants talk. Why? He doesn't want him to say something and it distract everybody for a day, him answering questions about what an offensive coordinator said. He won't let his assistants talk. Talk! So his whole thing is do your job, head down, no distractions. That's Belichick. So, I mean, they had Flash Gordon. Seattle picked him up. They had Antonio Brown. Raiders picked him up. The minute he sensed could be a little bit of a distraction, shoot, Belichick out. So I don't see a robust market for Cam. I don't. Starter or done. I also saw this. I like this story. Jeff Schwartz around the corner. Lance Zierlein was on our show earlier this week. His dad was an offensive line coach in the NFL for Bruce Arians in Arizona and in Tampa. So he has a mock draft, and his mock draft is willing to roll the dice on trades. So Lance Zierlein, very, very good. He's one of these guys. He hosts a radio show like John Middlecoff and could be an NFL scout. He has Burrow going number 1 to Miami. So he thinks Cincinnati's going to take a trade. I don't. He's got Chase Young going 2 to the Washington Redskins. Chargers moving up to get 2 at 3. Giants get an offensive tackle at 4. And Justin Herbert going to Cincinnati at 5. I think it's the right move to make. I don't think Cincinnati will do it. They're conservative. It's not in their nature. They won't do it. They've had the number 3 pick 3 times, 94, 95. Cincinnati's had it 3 times, 94, 95. 2003, and they haven't moved off it. They've moved up to number 1, but they haven't moved out of it. So, and Joe Burrow's from Ohio. They're not going to move out of it. But I would do it if I was Cincinnati. I would absolutely do it. But they won't. Cincinnati today could make a move on that, and they could get 4 draft picks. They could get another number 1, 2 2s, maybe a 4, 3, and they won't do it. So I think Joe Burrow's career is going to be very limited. Baltimore is better up front than they were last year, and they were good last year. Pittsburgh, it's going to be a better football team. Eric Ebron and Big Ben are back. And their young defensive players, which they have many on defense, are getting older. Minkah Fitzpatrick now, a second year. I think Cleveland has gotten better. No question, Cleveland's gotten better. And I also think they're going to address left tackle, their primary issue, and linebacker in this draft. It is a good linebacker draft. There's some good linebackers in this draft, and it's a good tackle draft, both the issues the Browns have. I think that division may be the best in the league. It's going to be the best defensive division in the league between the Steelers D, the Ravens D, and the Browns D. Joe Burrow, with no help, is going to struggle in Cincinnati. There is no fourth-place team in the NFL that is further away talent-wise than the 3 teams above them than the Bengals. Because you can roll your eyes at the Browns. They got talent. Stefanski's better than Freddie Kitchens, and they're going to address in this draft the 2 issues they have. one of them tackle. They're going to go get a great starting Pro Bowl level left tackle potentially, and they're ready to roll. 2 backs, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends now. Cleveland's ready to roll. If Stefanski can be a head coach, Baker's absolutely going to be better this year. More focus, lose weight, better coaching. He's going to rebound. He's not my quarterback, but he is a franchise quarterback. So if I'm Cincinnati, I'd absolutely move out of here. What do we say about sports? Who wins in sports these days? Aggressive teams. Houston goes and gets a Justin Verlander. Golden State goes and gets a Kevin Durant. I mean, who is winning in the NFL? Baltimore goes out and gets a Marcus Peters and upgrades, and aggressive is winning in business. I mean, I was talking to a friend about this. UFC, Dana White, aggressive. Vince McMahon, WWE, aggressive. Barstool Sports, hyper alpha aggressive. You may not like him. Aggressive is winning in media. It's winning in NFL. It's winning in the NBA. Cincinnati, be aggressive. Make yourself uncomfortable. Get up 5 picks. Go a few slots down and get a Justin Herbert or a Tua. And get 5 good draft picks, which will be 4 or 5 starters. Because if you're just going to bring in Joe Burrow and just going to play it safe, he is going to get mauled in that division. Cleveland's defensive front is nasty. Baltimore's is better. And Pittsburgh's front 7 is young. It's San Francisco. It really is without Bosa. It's San Francisco. It is loaded and it's young. Joe Burrow is going to get mauled potentially. I'd move and get picks. Just my opinion. I'd rather have Herbert with 5 draft picks, additional draft picks, than Joe Burrow without him. Because Justin Herbert with 5 draft picks, a tackle, a running back, another tight end, a receiver, is going to be a lot better than Burrow without him. That division now, have you seen all the moves Baltimore has made? They're going to make another one today, reportedly. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, they've all gotten better. And Big Ben's coming back. And Baker will be better. And Lamar, by the way, look at the jump he made year 1 to 2. What's Lamar going to be year 2 to 3? That division's scary good. Scary good. Aggressive win, Cincinnati. Go for it. Have some guts. First time in a long time.